Greetings, Monstrites. Today we're going to be doing an unboxing of Etherfields boxes, not the core game. I already did the core game. I showed some of the monsters and miniatures from there in a short, and then the rest of that was on Patreon, as that was a full game unboxing. For today, what I want to do is I want to mainly focus on the monstrous stuff, the miniatures. This is an expansion of it, and the stretch goals of the Kickstarter, and the Creatures of Etherfields, which is extra if you want to replace some of the monstrous tokens with actual miniatures, and they look great. Taking a look at the back of the box, we have a nice little teaser of things to come. The creativity behind the monsters of Etherfields, their designs, is actually pretty impressive. Here's their basic layout. Nothing under, no surprises. Alright, let's go from top left to right. First up, we got the box knight, which does look like a knight made of boxes. It's got the little shield there. All the bases of these miniatures are sculpted, which is also pretty impressive. Next up, we have what is called Sweet Scent. Then we have Murder of Crows. So it's stuff like this with these small miniatures that impresses me as far as production goes. Like the crow right there has the wing that's actually not attached to the other part here. It looks like it's a separate piece. There's a lot of parts like that with these miniatures that are pretty small and disconnected. That's a cool extra mile that they went with. Next, we have the Warden. Then we have our Ether Wolf. Cool swirly hair, fur. Next up we have a locker. Looks like a locker mimic. There you go. Pretty cool little piece there. Mouth actually goes pretty deep in there. Nice work on that. And next up we have a wolfling. I did play the quest, or the dream, because you go into dreams in this game, and there was a part that if you tame it, or no, if you kill enough wolves or something, then this might spawn, I think. I didn't trigger that, so I'm not sure. That's a cool little creative monstrosity right there. I do like that. Wonder what it would have done in the game. We'll see. Next playthrough, we'll see what happens. This is the Wraith, which actually you encounter pretty often, especially at the beginning there. So that's cool that they made a really nice mini of that. Pretty reminiscent of a Blair Witch Project ending, if you know what I'm talking about. Very cool. Looks like a great mini to display and paint. Well done. Then we have a Moth Knight. Some of these names might be reminiscent of a Kingdom Death Monster, if you know that game. They have different knights and things like that. Nice intricate details there on the armor. Looking good. Next up, we have what is called Candle. Nice work on the texturing there. Should be a pleasure to paint. I like that face. I like how deep the eye holes go. Nice. Next, we got the biggest one thus far, and that is the Masked Man. Look at that hat. Great job on the hat there. Great texturing. That's a good size hat right there. We have a frog sitting on a base of grass, or moss. Now, if you don't think that's a fun mini to paint, I don't know what is. That's a great little design. I was excited to see these. Awesome. Basically what Etherfields is exploring dreams and learning more about yourself and your memories. Next up we have our biggest one yet, which is the automation. Take a look at the base first there. Got some big leaves. Looks like maybe a pothole. Or just some industrial mechanical type atmosphere there on the bottom. And then this is what it looks like. You see the nice gaping mouth, pretty deep again. Looks like mushrooms or something, some kind of natural growths there on the jackhammer maybe. That's what it looks like. Some more mushroom fungus growth. I like that mix of plant and mechanisms. So it could be like a rusted kind of orangey, brownish copper colors with some fungus growths around. Next up is Scarecrow. Not your average scarecrow at all. Look at those hands/feet. Some wacky plumage. How would you feel with this stomping toward you? Next is the Nyx, which I'm excited to see, as I did see this token. I felt like it's kind of a little bit darker of a look than the others. There's some dark, kind of horrific looking stuff, but this one looked like more horrific of a creation. Boarded base. Looks like a lily pad, so we're in the water here. Reminds me of, I forgot, you know what it reminds me of with the flat head right there, and the wet water base. You know what it reminds me of. Two-tailed fox. Great minis to paint. I've mentioned it before, I think these minis would be great in psychedelic colors too, since it is a game about exploring dreams and kind of abstract and very artistic. So this tail goes around, up here, and curls rubbing against the front. The other one goes down between the legs. Very cool. Chimera. Again, not your average chimera. Looks like a goddess chimera. Again, I love the details here and there, the shield details all around her chest here, her hair. I'm not sure if that's her tail, because there's this bushy part coming out here from behind and underneath her, going to the front. Looks like a tail. If you look at her foot, she does not have a regular foot, so hence chimera. So far, as much as I've played the game, there hasn't been too much depth in the story of the different things you encounter, because there's so many dreams. I would like to see more of that, because there's so much detail to each creature that there should be some depth to the lore on them. Next, the tallest mini of them all, and possibly the biggest. This is the Tormentor. Again, beautiful work here. Very lovely sculpt, easy to paint, or a pleasure to paint, should I say. Look at that texturing on the back. Everything is sticking out a lot. Feel the grass there. Easy to dry brush. Wonderful work. That's a very neat character right there. See, this is one of those things that you can spend time, paint up to the best of your ability, or even pay someone that's better than you to paint it up, and then put it on a shelf somewhere in a public room in your house, as it's presentable. And it's just a nice display piece. Here we have this cool, tall, lanky guy, the Sentinel. Some books on the bottom, and the writing in the book is actually embedded, so you can easily paint that. You don't have to draw anything there yourself. We got more bird theme. We got the bird skull at the tip of his staff. Nicely ripped hat there. And we got a lantern there. That's a good size mini. That's a giant right there if you're playing D&D or something. Let's take a closer look at the face. So it looks like there's 3 eyes, sides of his head and the front, kind of insectoid looking. That's very neat. I do like that and appreciate it. Well done. Very cool. Next up, we have the Fortune Teller. This one just speaks for itself. Again, wonderful display pieces. You can imagine having this painted up beautifully and just have it on display in practically any room in your house. Very neat designs, and the versatility with all the pieces going in different directions. I don't know if I said this again in this recording, but it's just really cool to see what the artist originally sculpted actually come to life and not have to be altered too much because of the small size of it. This one might just be my favorite. You can see that third wing disconnected there, not touching the rest. Awesome work. Let's take a look at that face. There we go, that's classy. And the more classy, the more powerful it looks. So this one is called the Mortis. Again, it might just be my favorite. Take a look at that belly. Looks like an embryo. All veiny and such. So again, we have a lot of plumage going on. See, even that lowest wing right there, that does not actually touch the base, which is awesome. And on the base, you can also see a lot of roses and such, flowers, and even skulls amongst those roses. Very cool there. Standing on the tree stump. Kind of reminds me of the scarecrow earlier. If you remember the scarecrow, there it is. Now take a look at that size difference. That's some serious harpyage right there. So that's everything for the Creatures box. That was Creatures of Etherfields, now to be replaced by Etherfields Stretch Goals, Harpy and She-Wolf campaigns. So I'm really excited to see what's in this box because there's only 4 big minis here, the big minis, and then it's stretch goals, so I don't know what's in here. The other box, I mean, they have the whole pictures on the back of all the contents. This has nothing hinted too much, except for, well, 2 figures, so let's take a look at that real quick on the back. There it is. There's the core box, the Etherfields core box, which I did unbox already. Here we go. She-Wolf campaigns. Not campaign, but campaigns. Top is off. Close your eyes. Look at all that brilliant color, just like the rest of the whole Etherfields core box. We have 3 more masks that you can use, which give you little benefits in the game and such. Alright, not too monstrous stuff, but this is my candy for sure. So you got the Chimera, which we have the miniature. We already looked at that. The Ancient Ram. You play this game kind of like choose your own adventure. So once you trigger different things in the stories, you open to that page, read that. That connects you to the next thing. I find that kind of gameplay pretty fun. I hope you do too. And if you do, let me know. Something I am considering on the channel is doing narrated cinematic, I should patent this, but I'm going to call them cinematic board game playthroughs. Anyway, that's something for the future. Still contemplating it because it's a lot of work to make those, but I think it's something pretty unique nobody else is doing. So the cool thing is I'm glad I bought the other miniature box because here you do have tokens for like the frog, which we looked at, Ether Wolf, Moth Knight. So in this box, they don't have those. If you get that Creatures box, you also can play them here, so you don't have to use the tokens. But now for the first one, I don't know what it's called, but basically what it looks like is a winged cat in sort of a playful or scared pose on a tree stump, closing its eyes kind of in that see no evil kind of pose. Again, wonderfully textured plumage there for easy and enjoyable paintwork. But there you go, fluffy tail. Alright, that's very original. Again, very cool display piece. I know a lot of you people out there are cat people. At least I hope you are if you're watching this channel, because this channel is animal people, and that means cats, dogs, everything. Don't have the name of that one ready. So it looks like they're looking at a mirror. That is awesome, that their image in the mirror is also embedded so you can actually paint it. That is very cool. And they have like a fox or wolf mask on while looking at the mirror that on the other side of the mirror has another face. So it looks very foxy, wolfy, or maybe this is the she-wolf. Or among those, that campaign, look at those shoes, those high shoes or boots there. With that character like 6 inches taller. There you go. Question marks on the bottom. Reminds me of the coyote. The Riddler kind of vibe there. Alright, and then we have this gigantic one, which definitely looks like the she-wolf. I don't know what she would be referred to as, and I won't know for a while until I jump into this expansion, which will be quite some time. Oh yeah, look at all that intricate work. Of course, not your normal there, Wolfie. Let's look at the details of her face. Looking good there, looking good. The ground is full of mossiness, rootiness, and roses. And it is glued together pretty well. I'm not seeing big annoying gaps like the biggest mini in the core box. It's an awesome mini, beautiful, but there are big gaps in the glue job there. I would assume this was the Harpy. So this is the Harpy of the Harpies. The Harpy. Look at those. Needs to be cleaned up there a little bit. Not too bad. On the leg there. This is extreme plumage right there. If you got roses in your plumage, that's extreme level plumage. Let's take a look at her portrait. Looks excellent there. A lot of nice details behind. Her locks going down, the plumage looking pretty mixed up, not too lazy symmetrical. So looking great there. I'm not sure with pieces like this, I haven't tried that yet, where you can break off, like for example, if you want to paint these wings well and easily and smoother, you can kind of break it off where it's glued there. I would hope they would break off easily and then paint it all up separately and then just glue them back on. But I do appreciate the work they went through discussing with the factory to have these put together right in the factory. This level of detail and work and little pieces being put together and already included in your game is awesome. Just shows how overpriced Warhammer stuff is, as you have to build everything of Warhammers, which is part of the hobby, but it's also part of making their poses unique if you choose to do that. But otherwise, you are working yourself on something that Warhammer could easily have paid for the factory to do. They're just way overpriced. Quality is good, great, but it's nothing like so extreme that it's so much better than this. Warhammer quality would not, as far as sculpt and plastic, wouldn't be that much better than this. Yet this is already in its full form, all glued together, and this probably whole box is, I would say, much cheaper than any Warhammer miniature this large that you would buy, because those go for like over $100 and much higher. The size difference between the Harpy and that flying cat. What a cool combination. I really like this Harpy. Give me some Harpy love. Hashtag Harpy in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this. I will improve on my displaying of the monstrous contents of these different board games. Don't worry, I won't be going through detailed unboxings. That's not what this channel is about. I might leave it for Patreon sometimes I'll just leave it out. But I will still do full uncovering and seeing everything for the first time with you guys. Anyway, till next time, stay monstrous, my friends. And see you in the comments.